Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Sports Wrap. My name is Scott Morganoff, Motor City Mad Mouth. We're going to have a great show lined up today. Certainly love the crew. Dennis Maruk is back. And by the way, Mr. Maruk, you better have your book up because you're going to be talking about it a little bit later. And we're going to have some action from the chat room, so get ready for that too. Okay. So, Dennis, glad to have you back, my friend. Dennis, can you hear me?
Oh, no. Dennis, can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you. Hear me?
Now I got
Can you hear Scott?
Don't hear anything. Nope.
Okay.
You can't hear me?
You kind of all went off there. Yeah.
All right, we got JD from X here on there. He's one of your new fans there, Dennis. Okay, can you hear me now? Yeah, JD, Peter couldn't make it through the technical problems. We're working on trying to get him on next week, but we tried. You get used to Dennis Maruk because he's a fixture on the show, and we're working on Peter. So glad you're on. So all right, can you hear me again, Dennis?
It doesn't sound like it. No.
Okay, well, I know you can. Mike, can you look for Plan B?
Well,
the iPad.
This is
okay.
This is the same.
Dennis, can you hear me?
No, it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah,
Okay.
This is the same problem we had a few weeks ago with Dennis. It's
that's okay. Don't worry about it. Candy, just go ahead and get the iPad Pro. Don't worry about it. We'll go to Plan B. That's not a big deal. The iPad Pro worked out real well, so it's not a big deal. We're going to work with that in a minute. So meanwhile, just give everybody an update of some of the topics we're going to talk about. She'll bring the iPad in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So these things happen. Dennis, are you still able to hear me before we go back to Plan B? All right. Well, that's okay. It is what it is. Just a little bit. Candy's brought the iPad
Have Mike
in.
talk.
Huh?
Have Mike talk.
And we'll get it. You guys talk amongst yourself, so we'll go ahead and I've got something that'll get figured out in no time, so hang in there. All right, you got it?
You gotta get the email.
Huh?
Gotta get the email.
There.
Your email. South Florida Tribune.
It's not on this one.
I see, but I don't hear anything.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Florida's iCloud.
Oh, let me get in here.
All right, go on. And that's okay. Hang in there. Mike and Cody, keep talking. Hang on.
Well, this problem is coming from you, Scott, because everybody else can hear. Dennis, can you hear me?
I hear you. Yeah.
This problem is from you, Scott, because the same thing with Peter. Like Cody, Dennis, myself, we could hear each other. Peter Mahavlich was able to hear us. We were able to hear him, but so whatever the problem is, it's coming from Scott.
The main, yeah.
Because we can have Cody, you can hear fine, right?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear Dennis, and Dennis can hear me.
Hear me, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
and this is the same thing, Cody and Dennis. This is the same thing we had 3 or 4 weeks ago, right, Dennis?
Right.
When we were on it, the three of us are fine.
It's got to be, yeah, the main, yeah.
And
The main
Peter was fine as well. It was.
So was Peter able to hear me and you?
But you couldn't hear everybody else, though, right?
Peter, well, Scott was doing all the talking, so he
True.
But
we're having technical issues. Everyone, I see in the chat. We're having issues. Dennis can't hear Scott, so we're working things out. Everyone in the chat.
Yeah,
so.
I hear everybody else. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
So let's just have a chat, the three of us. How about that?
Yeah.
They can hear. Everybody out there can hear us, right?
Well, JD on X does have a question for Dennis. He asked, "Are you still involved in hockey?"
Am I still involved in hockey? No.
Yeah.
No, not involved in hockey. No, I just do. Whenever I get my foot healed, I'll be back skating again, doing charity hockey events.
Okay.
But
do you have any charity hockey events planned?
Not this year. It'll be probably not till next year. Yeah. Okay. I do a bunch of Easter Seals events, and hockey helps the homeless. But that won't be till next year.
Are there any like people that you've played with or
Oh yeah.
former NHL people that are going to be in the charity event as well?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Usually there's, I would say with, on the Hockey Help Summers, there's 2-3 guys on a team. Easter Seals is usually 8 to 12 or 8 to 14 teams put together, and you have a couple players on the team, a couple ex-NHL players.
Mhm.
So I do run into a lot of players. Yeah.
Yeah. D on X says he can't hear Mike. I mean, I can hear you perfectly fine, Mike. So I think maybe it's just. I think it's just StreamYard is acting up with that. JD also says Dennis was way before my time covering the NHL. I was, not to make you feel old or anything, but he said I was born 3 years after you retired.
Thanks. I was 33, 34. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Scott, can you talk?
All right, Dennis, can you hear me now?
In 89.
All right, Dennis, can you hear Scott now?
Scott, I hear you. No,
What?
I see that voice, the lips going, but no voice.
Okay.
That ain't good. And Kane,
No.
you got to give me the chat room in here too. I don't know how we're doing this. You got me on 2 different setups here.
Okay, well, I can hear you.
I can hear everyone just fine.
Yeah, Dennis, you can't hear me now?
No.
Unbelievable. I don't know.
Let's see. All right, in the chat, can you guys all hear Scott too, or is it just Dennis? I'm just curious if the chat can hear Scott as well.
Scott, talk.
All right, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Mike. Can you hear Scott?
Yes.
Okay.
Dennis, can you hear me? How do you get
No.
the chat up here?
Dennis and Peter are both on phones.
All right.
And they-
JD in the chat says they can hear you, Scott. So
Okay,
it's just
good.
Dennis.
Right.
I don't know.
And then on the live chat, can you guys hear Mike as well, or is it just me
I
and
don't know how to
Dennis
get
you
rid of
guys
that
hear?
either, because that's the second
I'm
thing.
not saying it. I haven't said anything.
But it might be
Yeah.
in the settings, and I don't know how to change it. I'll put the comments up.
Okay. All right. Well, if you can hear me and hope, Dennis, can you at least hear what we're doing here?
No, he cannot.
All right. What
No.
I'll do is I'll go over the topics as we go ahead here, and you guys can convey them over to Dennis. How does that sound? All right.
Sounds
That's how I
good.
work with. Yeah, that's fine. We'll just echo them here and go from there. We'll continue to work through the technical problems as we go along. All right, so give me 1 second. Glad everybody's with us. Glad we have an active chat room, and we'll work through a couple of the kinks here as well as JD and everybody else gets inserted back in there. So we'll continue to work on this as well. All right, well, our first topic of the night is actually, we talk about the momentum of what the Olympics did. So I'm going to go over how much Olympic athletes are getting paid for winning medals, okay? And I'll go over it real slow. We'll start off in Germany. They're actually getting paid $36,000 for a gold, $12,000 for a bronze, and they're getting $24,000 for a silver medal. And he talks about that. Germany people.
So you said the Germany, like they got like an extra pay if they want, like a bonus if they want won a
Well,
medal.
here's what they're
Yes.
getting paid for medals. Okay, we'll just start off with the gold ones. Okay, $36,000 if they win a gold medal. That's how
So
much they get paid.
So
to win.
36,000 for a German player to win a gold medal.
Correct.
Okay.
37 for U.S., wasn't it?
Was it 37 for? Scott, do you have this in pictures where you can send them to me so that way I can also relay them?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. Hang on.
25 Canadian.
Can you hear me now, Dennis? Okay.
No.
Or you know
No,
what?
if you send me the pictures, I can
I'm
also.
doing that. I'm doing that right now. So
Yeah.
hold on. Do that right now.
You know who
can go
gets the most?
Canada.
Singapore.
Why? Because they know they're not going to get far.
They're never going to win one, but 700,000 U.S.
Wow, 700,000 US.
They win a medal. Yeah, but
That's an Olympic medal, correct?
but now, yes.
because they weren't even in the
no, whatever.
in the
Philippines
Olympics.
and Singapore, they're 200,000, I think it was the other one. But do you all know that there was a donation, over 100 million donated to the U.S. Olympic athletes? Do you know that?
Did you get them,
And
Cody?
that in
Yeah, I just got it.
2026 that they will each athlete will get 200,000.
Oh wow. Okay,
Win, lose or draw, no medal or other.
all right. So here's what Scott was trying to say
Yeah.
for player Olympians if they medal, how much they get. So for
Right.
Germany, they get 36,000 for a gold, 24,000 for a silver, and 12,000 for a bronze.
Mhm.
United States, they got 37,500,
Right.
42,500 for silver, and 15K for a bronze. France, 95,000, 47,000 for a gold, 47,000 for a silver,
Mhm.
24,000 for a bronze. Spain, 111,000 for gold, 57K for silver, 36K for bronze. Italy, 214K for gold, 150K for silver, and 75K for bronze. A lot of people made up on that because Italy did pretty well in the Olympics. Kazakhstan, 250K for gold, 150K for silver, and 75K for bronze. Taiwan, 720K for gold, 251K for silver, and 178K for bronze. And Singapore, like you were saying, Dennis, 792K for gold, 395K for silver, 197K for bronze. And Norway, everyone got zero, no matter what.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, for Norway to get nothing, but I mean, they always compete in the Winter Olympics, so it seems like those bonuses didn't really affect them because they still did very well in the Olympics. So, what do you think about how the big differences in all the, the bonuses players will get for each country?
Well, I think as an athlete, Olympian in the United States, I think that's pretty good. What they've just received that donation, that each athlete gets 200,000.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty. I think the training, what for Olympics of 4 years of training and everything, the hours and what they do. I think that 200,000 is deserving to each one of them.
yeah, no, yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Just
The other
the big
countries, they
differences
don't.
in all of them.
Yeah, yeah, it's a big deal. But with the medals, it's but it depends on also what they get when they do win.
Yeah.
All the sponsorships, the endorsements, all the other stuff, that it all adds up. Where I think, and where I saw where one of the countries, people were getting a house, cars, and everything if they won a medal. So there's
Yeah.
good, bad in different countries, and go from there.
All right, Mike, what's your take on all the bonus structures for the Olympics for each country?
I know things have changed and times have changed, but I think this is something that's been brought on primarily by the United States because starting with basketball, when they couldn't win the gold, they decided they were going to send their NBA players. And then following suit in the 90s, the NHL, for promotional reasons and marketing reasons, decided they were going to bring professional players into the Olympics as well. Not to mention that the United States and Canada, before then, never sniffed medals or never sniffed gold medals in the Olympic Games for ice hockey. So I think this whole idea that we're paying Olympians, at least in North America, when the athletes are primarily professional athletes, is terrible. I can understand athletes from other countries. Spain, I think you said, was one of the highest ones paying. Because those athletes aren't professional athletes, or they're not paid as our professional athletes are over here. But to be sending millionaires guys that make annually more than $1 million a year, and the guys that are being sent there, particularly the hockey players, are making much more than $1 million a year, and then to start paying them, even $130,000 when you add in the donation that's been made, is foolish. So that's my take. I don't think we should be paying these guys and women,
Yeah. No.
at least from North America, to go over there and win gold medals.
Well, I know there's some professional athletes. What they'll do is when they win, I think it was Mbappe in the World Cup. All his World Cup win earnings, he donated all his earnings towards like charities. So if players do that, that makes a little bit more. I get on board with that. I think because France won that World Cup and he donated all his earnings. So even the World Cup bonus, he gave all to charity. So I think when professional athletes do that, I think that makes it a little bit better. So I agree. I think professional athletes shouldn't have to get a bonus for something they're already competing in professionally, and they're just competing internationally for their country. I think just competing like that in the Olympics for your country should already be plenty, especially if you're do it professionally like that.
Yeah,
so I agree with you, Mike.
I mean, we're talking hockey on this show. Well,
yeah.
Almost all of the players in the Olympic hockey tournament are NHL players.
Right.
Even though it's playing for Sweden and Finland and Czech. And so, I mean, is it an achievement one of these teams filled with NHL players won the gold medal or the silver medal or the bronze medal? No.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
I think the World Cup is a lot different. The playing field is a lot even, right? But we basically have a hockey tournament in the Olympics. It's all NHL players.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
all right, what do you want to talk? What do you want to talk about next, Scott?
Well, here, you know what? You can hear me at least, right?
Yeah.
So what you're going to do technically for the rest of this show is you're going to go ahead and take over the host chair, and I'll send you the topics, and you call on me last.
Okay, perfect.
And that's what I'll do. Let me give you my input on this one here first. Okay, number one, it's an intriguing story, and I'll tell you why it is such an intriguing story. Because, like Mike alluded to, you're going out there and playing NHL players, and that's what the price of the gold is. Well, for these other countries, it becomes a different situation. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's one of the reasons I brought this topic in here, because we're coming off the heels of the Olympics, and I just think it's an overall perspective of what this is all about. And I want you to make sure you relay what I'm saying over to Dennis and Candy. Make sure in the background you get these comments up at the chat as well, so I can address them as well. So I think it's pretty good that they're able to go out there and it's just an interesting topic because we get to see what they're getting paid. How many people realize how many of these actual athletes are getting paid for a gold medal, let alone what everything is all about? You follow me?
Yeah. Perfect.
So we'll go to the chat room. So to Dennis, asking Cody if he's watching the Masters this weekend. There you go.
Dennis, JD on the X chat says, are you going to be watching the Masters?
I was watching it today. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who you like so far?
I like Scheffler. I'm not a big Rory fan.
Mm-hmm.
I like Jordan Spieth.
Okay.
But I'm kind of like I'm not a front runner. I just like Scotty. I think he's just done so much. I don't like Bryce DeChambeau. I don't like him. It's nice to see the one guy, Gary Woodward, be in there. He won last 2 weeks ago for what all his health issues that he's had with the brain tumor.
Yeah.
But I mean that's who I kind of like for the Masters. But you never know. The golf course is so tough.
Yeah. JD asked, who do you have winning? He says Rory. He says he has Rory or Scotty going to take it, and he says great to see Woodland playing well too.
Woodward, yeah. I like you never can count those like Shane Lowry and Justin Rose.
Yeah.
And they just seem to excel there. So I would pick Scotty, and I'm gonna go with his buddy Sam Burns.
Same. Okay.
All right. Well, yeah. Glad to have a lot of the Masters chat. We'll continue on with the show. I appreciate the
What was a bunch of
Josh and
guys?
the guys getting back on. They're obviously big hockey fans. Dennis, I don't know if you can still hear me. Maybe we'll work out the bugs by the time it's over. Doesn't matter. At least Corey is getting experience hosting the show. If one of these days I have to turn it over to him at some point, him and Mike. But
Yeah.
right now, that's good stuff. So, yeah, all in all, though, I think the Olympic athletes getting paid per medal is something I really never knew a whole lot about. You know what I mean? And now this enlightens what the Olympic thing is. And when you talk about the fact that they're out there putting all that hard work in, now not only do they want the gold, but now they get a little bit of monetary incentive as well. Let's
Yeah.
continue on to the next one about undrafted players.
All right. Yeah. So here are the top 8 undrafted players with 500 or more career points. So you have Wayne Gretzky, the great one, of course. He was a WHA signing. Peter Stastny, he defected from Czechia. Martin St. Louis, he won the Calder, Hart, and Art Ross. Adam Oates, he was a college free agent. Joe Mullen, another college free agent. Dino, was it Ciccarelli? He was a free agent. Artemi Panarin, a KHL free agent, and then Torrey Krug, who was also a college free agent. Current player, but I know he hasn't played in the last year or so with the injury with the St. Louis Blues.
Right.
So would you out of those 8, who do you think? I mean, other than I think we're all going to say Wayne Gretzky's the craziest one, but out of all those 8, who's the most surprised that they weren't a drafted player?
You want me to? Well, you look at Gretzky. I mean, come on. What he's done, and also Gordie Howe. I don't know if Gordie Howe and Phil Esposito, they didn't have the draft then, right? So those are some older guys too. And then 3 other ones that I had were Brian Rafalski,
Okay.
Mark Giordano, and Dan Boyle. There's 3 more guys that had some good points and were never drafted. But I mean, you look at the names that you mentioned, Marty St. Louis, Adam Oates. I mean, and look what they did, in the game and how many points they got. So, and Dino Ciccarelli. So, I don't know. I'd have to. You look at those top guys like Wayne Gretzky, Gordie Howe.
Okay.
I don't
Mike,
think Stan Mikita was drafted either, but they didn't have that draft then. That was the older days. On the modern one is the ones that we mentioned. So there you go.
Yep. What about you, Mike? Out of those 8, who impresses you the most?
Who impresses me the most, or who do I?
You have the floor. You have the floor. Do you want me to go over the 8 again, or?
No, I mean, they're all impressive, right? I mean, they all had 500 points or more in the National Hockey League, so that's impressive, whether you're drafted or you're undrafted. The one that surprises me the most is the most recent, which is Torrey Krug, and the reason it surprises me the most is because most of those other guys before Torrey Krug, even the guys that you mentioned, like Martin St. Louis, Adam Oates. I mean, these are guys that have been their draft would have been 25 to 30 years ago. In Adam Oates' case, 40 years ago. At that time, there weren't as many teams. It wasn't as common for players like St. Louis and Adam Oates, who played in college, to be drafted, because they would have had to been drafted probably out of like high school hockey at the time, if you're playing in the United States anyways, or tier 2 hockey if you're playing in Canada. But Torrey Krug is more recent, and so there's more teams now, there's more scouting, there's more visibility with streaming, and the ability to watch junior games and even midget games and all these types of access that we have to watching players at a younger age. So the fact that he wasn't drafted and he was so successful is the one that surprises me the most. The guys that played years ago, I mean, Dennis even alluded to this. I mean, if you go far enough back too, there wasn't even a draft.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah,
doesn't
'cause-
surprise me so much that a guy like Dino Ciccarelli, had the career he had after not being drafted, because it was harder to find those guys back then, and it was also there weren't as many teams back then.
No, I agree. Like, I mean, for me, I only really remember, Panarin and Torrey Krug. Panarin's another big one, but the European players are a little bit more difficult because sometimes just where they play and sometimes they sprout like later on in their career. Maybe it was like the last 1 or 2 years they really sprouted, and and then that's where he wanted to head over to the USA and get picked up there. I mean, how can you go against Wayne Gretzky and stuff like that? But when you guys were talking about the older players that there wasn't even a draft, that was back then when they had where you pretty much you went to the team on where you were closer to, like where you lived, right?
Kind of had a junior team too.
Yeah, the territory. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why Montreal Canadiens were so dominant for that long period, because a lot of the best players were from that majority of that territory.
I think some players are making more money playing junior than and when they call up and play for the pro team.
Yeah.
Yeah, those days.
Yeah.
All right. The other thing to think about there too is, you're looking at kids basically when they're 16, 17 years old, and you're trying to evaluate what they're going to be like when they're men, right?
Yeah.
And it's difficult, right? I mean, Dennis will tell you, like, kid comes to the London Knights, if he's not one of these highly rated guys and he's 16 years old, it's difficult to see what this kid's going to develop into when he's 20, 21, 22. So it's hard. It's hard to evaluate these kids at such a young age.
No, scouts definitely have a really hard job just trying to, find out, is this 16, 17-year-old kid is going to be an NHL player one day? It's not easy. And, and you have to look at not just one person, you're looking at thousands of different players and trying to figure out, all right, which one should we draft that's going to be the best for this franchise. All right, we'll take it over to Scott. Scott, the undrafted players with 500 plus career points.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going with Wayne Gretzky on this, and the reason why is because of the WHA signing is what I'm going to do. How many people in this day and age even understand that the WHA signing, to me, even existed? So, that league was a pretty good league when you consider Gordie Howe played in it, and you had Bobby Hall. But with Wayne Gretzky being undrafted because of that speaks a lot. If I had to go with another one on the list, as I'm looking at it as we speak, Adam Oates and Dino Ciccarelli certainly are two, but I'm going with Wayne Gretzky easily.
Yeah.
WHA people, Google it up. It was a pretty good league while it lasted. It was a formidable competitor for the NHL.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on to the next topic. It's the what if roster, careers that were derailed by injuries. Number one, we have Mario Lemieux with the back and cancer. Could have challenged Gretzky, probably.
Right.
Eric Lindros, Bobby Orr, Peter Forsberg, Pat LaFontaine, Pavel Bure, Sidney Crosby, and Steven Stamkos. All right, Mike, what's your take on all these what if roster with all the injuries they've had in their career?
Well, I don't really consider Bure or LaFontaine or even Forsberg as guys that had their careers derailed by injuries. But certainly for me, nor would I say the same thing for Eric Lindros, despite the concussions.
Yeah.
But I definitely think Mario Lemieux missing a full season because of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and some of the other injuries that he had. The players played against him. He had a serious back problem for many years. I think he could have put up many more points if he was healthy. But by far the in my opinion, by far the athlete or the hockey player that injuries cost him the most from his career was Bobby Orr. And I look at the way surgeries are performed these days and the types of things they can do medically, and you wonder if they were able to do those things back in the 70s with Bobby Orr, how much longer his career would have been and how much greater it would have been. So for me, Bobby Orr is the guy.
All right. What about you, Dennis?
Well, I there's some great players there that had to cut it short. But what if I think you got to really take Mario Lemieux for what I got a chance to play against him in an outdoor game. I forget what year it was, in Pittsburgh over the Capitals, and we played against Pittsburgh, and Mario played. It was a lot of fun, but I think he'd be the one player that could have done some damage, really damaged the way he was as a player.
Yeah, I feel like I agree with you. Like with all the injuries that he had in his career, with his back and the cancer, and I really felt like he easily could have been the second player to hit the 2,000 point mark in his career. I think he was well on his way to hitting that mark.
Oh, for sure. And definitely would have done it.
Yeah, it definitely.
Yeah.
All right. What about Scott? What about you?
You know what? I got to tell you, how do you not go with Mario Lemieux because of back and a cancer? But if anybody can relate to concussions, I can because I'm dealing with it myself. I mean, concussions have put me in a predicament where I have Alzheimer's disease. And who checks that box? Well, you got Eric Lindros for one, Pat LaFontaine, and Sidney Crosby. So, I mean, all of these are excellent players, which is why I brought this on. But it's one of those what ifs. Of course, we all know Bobby Orr because of his knee injuries. But again, a lot of the things that we're talking about are, I mean, cancer, the fact that Lemieux ended up dealing with it, and now he owns a franchise is a story all by itself. And make sure you're echoing these comments on the Dennis too, okay, Cody?
Yeah.
That I'm saying, because of obviously what we had to do. So, but the reality of the position is that this is a good list in a sense because Mario owns the team. Eric and Pat and Sidney obviously have concussions.
Yeah.
And when you see players that are cut short, they could have been what they were. It's hard to believe that we have a dream team of players on this list that get on this list.
Yeah. So Dennis, what he was saying that like he agrees with the whole with Mario, especially with the and then also with Eric and Pat LaFontaine and Sidney with the the concussions, especially like concussions can lead to Alzheimer's for people. So he was saying like that can also affect everyone. But he definitely says he agrees with you on the Mario Lemieux with his back and the cancer derailing his career.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I really believe that he would have had numerous awards and points. There's no doubt about it for what he did. And the team that there wasn't a lot of players like Gretzky had and all that, but Mario. He can make other players just excel.
Yeah, agreed. All right, we're gonna take a quick station break. So, Candy, you are up.
It's me. Hey, all right. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published the book Lessons from the Microphone, tuning into the enduring wisdom of visionary leaders. It is written by our host. Well, not our host. Our host that's not hosting, Scott, the Motor City Badmouth Morganroth, talks about his 40-plus years in the business and how it has evolved, old school media versus new school media. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also an audiobook out there, so go grab that if you like. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to be a guest or want to sponsor a show, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Last but not least, if you see that red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, That means you have not yet subscribed to us. What are you waiting for? Just click it, like, and share us with all your friends and family, and then turn on your notifications so you're notified every time we go live. Back to you, Cody.
Thank you very much, Candy. Let's see,
Cody,
I'm just waiting for Scott to send me the next topic.
Cody, I have, while we're waiting, I just have one more comment about the last topic, and that is that Bobby Orr only played 650 games in the NHL. All of those other players, including Mario Lemieux, played 1,000 or more games.
Yeah, that's a
Like,
good point. Oh, did we lose Mike now? Oh, there.
because of injury, I think it's, to me, again, it's Bobby Orr. I mean, 650 games. I mean, if he had played even another 350 to be on par with some of those other guys, I think he blows them away.
No, that's a very good point, Mike. I didn't realize that. I thought you hear his name so much, you would think he played more than just the 600 plus games. You would think he would be more in the the 1,000 plus range.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that. So I mean I just learned something right there. So I didn't like I said didn't realize that he only played that many games. I thought it was a lot more, just because you hear his name so much, and like
Well,
a lot of comparisons. Like they're saying Makar is like a Bobby Orr-esque kind. I'm like, okay, but when you hear that, you think he's played a lot more games than just the 600 plus games.
Makar's already played as many.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
About that.
All right, I'm still waiting for.
Well, I have a topic that we can talk about, which is, what about these playoff races? I mean, we're down to the last week and a half of the season, and we've got some crazy playoff races, right? In both the East and the West. I mean, first of all, in the East, you've got Philly, who's involved in the Metropolitan Division playoff spot race, with teams like Columbus and Islanders, and even Washington's creeping in there. And then you've got, all these teams fighting for a wild card spot with Ottawa, Columbus, the Islanders, and again, Washington seems to be hanging in there. I mean, and then when you get to the West, I mean, you've got a race the Pacific Division for who's going to finish first. You've got a division, which is Minnesota, because that's going to be a really big first round series with somebody going out early, and whoever has home ice in that series is probably going to have a little bit of an upper hand. So I think that race for second place in the Central Division is crazy. And then you've got a crazy wild card race as well in the West with Anaheim. I'll put them in there, as well as for the third spot in the Pacific with Utah, Nashville, LA, and San Jose, and I guess Winnipeg on the outside too. So what do you guys think of the playoff races in both the East and the West?
All right, Dennis, what do you think about the NHL standings going on right now with all the playoff races we have?
my whole thing is, I don't think there's one team that you can just say, oh, they're going to win it. Like as I said last week regarding Colorado, the Avalanche. Look at their records, and you look at Dallas. Right? It's just the teams that are real close fighting for the wild card. There's only 3-4 games left, and I like to see, of course, my Capitals get in. There's no doubt about it. But it's getting kind of scarce for them. I did go to the game last night. They beat Toronto 4-0 in Toronto. But I mean, those other teams too, like Ottawa, Columbus, all those teams that are fighting, it's going to go right down to the last game. There's no doubt about it. And if you can get in, if those wild card teams can get in that last spot, they can win it. They can win it all. It's just a matter of getting in, and it's just I'm just a guy that I'm not I'm set on one team that's going to say, okay, well, if they really know that the team that wins the President's Cup, which is definitely Colorado, they're not going to win the Stanley Cup. That's just a percentage that the team that usually does win the President's Cup doesn't normally win the Stanley Cup.
I think we lost Dennis.
And
I think Dennis makes a really good point.
McCart's not.
All right, can you hear me now?
And I don't trust their goaltending. So the other teams, I don't know. I'd be. Is there a dark horse team out of those teams that coming trying to fight to get in? I don't know. You know, you look at the Flyers; they're fighting right there too. So they're coming on. So I don't know.
I think-
just not set on. Go ahead.
I think Dennis makes a great point in that one of these teams, because they've got to play so well just to get in one of these final spots, could be on a roll. And this could be one of those years where we see a wild card team go right to the finals.
Like a 2012 LA Kings run.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
You look at Buffalo, Tampa, and Montreal, right? I know they all have the same points, right? Same 1 or 2 points, and that's going to be, I don't like the format. I jumped in there. I don't like the format where you get the 2 top teams, right? Are going to be playing off in a series right off the bat. Bettman likes that. He thinks it's great for hockey. I don't think so. I think you should be rewarded for how great of a year you had if you're first or second, and especially first in the division, that you get either a bye or your first team plays the 8th place team. I like to see that happen. I like the playoffs go that way, where 1 versus 8 or 2-7, 3-6, 4-5 or whatever. But I don't know. Bettman, if Bettman's still there, he ain't gonna change it.
Yeah. Dennis, we can hear you just fine, but we just have a black screen on you, so we can't see you.
Can't see me?
But I can hear you just fine. But I just want to give you a
Wow.
heads up. So we were having issues with this with another person on the show yesterday. So it's probably not just you. I think it's just StreamYard's just having a bunch of issues this week. So like I said, it's probably not you, but I'm just letting you know for you, it's just all we see is a black screen.
Nice.
I have another topic on those lines for Dennis, especially. Do you think this is it for Alex Ovechkin? Do you think this is
that's good. I just saw the interview earlier with Ted Leonsis talking to him, and I did see the Ovi interview too. And he's going to wait and decide. He'll talk it over with him. He loves to play. He loves to play. It'd be different if he got kind of tired of it and losing interest in that. But he loves the game, and he's born to score. That's what he's always done as a child when he's playing youth hockey and all that. So, and now he's got an opportunity to have the most goals of any hockey player counting playoffs. I think that's something that he may be thinking about before he retires. But I do know that I think he'll give it one more year. That's my my situation. If they don't get in the playoffs, he may think second about it. But I think he'll play one more year, and then he'll go back to Moscow and retire there. Play one game in Moscow and retire there, move back home and live in Moscow.
Yeah. So, but back to the
There you go.
standings, it's definitely the most interesting year with the playoff race I think we've seen in a while. Where there's still a lot of teams in the hunt this year. I mean, on the East, I mean, I think a lot of people thought the Philadelphia Flyers were down and out in the middle of the season, and now they're coming back, and now they have the 3rd spot in the Metro.
Yeah.
Columbus has been clawing their way back ever since they got Rick Bowness as their coach. I mean, a lot of people didn't think Boston was going to be near a playoff spot, and they're holding down the wild card 1 spot. Ottawa, with all the drama they've had on and off the ice, and then their goalie issues, probably didn't think they're going to be in a playoff spot, and they're in wild card 2. And then, I mean, Pittsburgh, I did not expect Pittsburgh to be in a playoff spot this time of year, and also the Sabres, but the Sabres are right now leading the Atlantic. So, and they finally clinched after 14 years, which is
Yeah.
which is great. I'm happy to see that
Yeah.
they're back in it. And on the West, it's you have what 3 almost 4 team race for the last wild card spot. I think Mammoth already have the wild card spot.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're
yeah,
right.
so-
there, Dan.
But I mean, it's all but the last one, it's like Nashville, LA with all their overtime losses are still in it. I mean, they only have. I think I heard on a podcast today is the Kings only have won more regulation wins than one other team, and that's the Vancouver Canucks, and yet they're fighting for a playoff spot. The San Jose Sharks were Macklin Celebrini is just carrying them, and the Winnipeg Jets are clawing their way back too. So, I mean, the West, that last wildcard spot's gonna be very interesting this last week. I mean, the Central, I think we already knew who the 3 teams were going to be, like in October, the way they were playing. So I think there was no doubt it was going to be Colorado, Dallas, and Minnesota. It was just where they're going to be slotted in the division. But in the Pacific, I mean, I hate to say it, but I think Connor McDavid said it right. It's a pillow fight in the Pacific.
Right.
And I said my Anaheim Ducks, they were leading the division a couple weeks ago, and now they've lost 6 in a row. And now they're, the way they're playing, they could be, choking their way out of a playoff spot right now.
Right.
So, we all thought Edmonton was down and out earlier, and now they're leading the Pacific. So,
All right, Cody, let me ask. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Dennis, you can hear Scott now?
Yep.
No
Oh,
kidding.
perfect.
Great stuff. All
So
right.
what happened?
Well, you know what? I've been tinkering with just trying to log in and log off. So that's really good. That's okay. Well, you can keep rolling with it a little bit. At least now you can hear me, Dennis, because there are miracles in technology. At least you don't have to worry about
We lost Dennis.
dealing with a lot of. Well, he'll get on, and sooner or
Yeah.
later we'll get to see. Meanwhile, so you're doing a whale of a job actually hosting it. So I'll probably let you do it most of the way, but at least he can hear my comments, so you don't have to be a
Yeah.
third-party translator. So it's not the worst thing in the world. But anyways, let me go back on the Uyghur trade. For Ali Mata and Jonathan Castagna, that's a good move for Utah because it shows that they're a newer franchise. Okay, and unlike Cliff Neal had to say a week ago, I don't care what he has to say, they're a newer franchise, and it shows the fan base a little something else. Okay, I don't know if y'all talked about it or not. Look at
No.
this, Dennis. Can you hear
I'm
me?
back. Yeah, I hear you.
There we
let's
go.
But
You
you
hear
know what?
me?
Cody's done a whale of a job. I'm proud of him. So you know what I've learned tonight? That when I have to step aside and do the show, Cody and Mike, Cody's earned the spot to replace me. Now whether he
Well, I mean,
wants it or not,
Mike did a great job that last
So-
time. So,
now that I made my comment on Uyghur. I think it was a good move actually for Utah, if I'll
Right.
make, because it shows the fan base in a newer market.
yeah,
Is
we
what it
didn't.
really has,
We,
and I think it's
we-
good. And look at JD says Utah's the sickest Zamboni ever, and that's why.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll give you your 2 there. Let's go. All right, Cyberowski. All right, well, hey Cody, I'm proud of you. Let's keep this bad boy going.
yeah, we didn't get into the Uyghur trade because we didn't have the topics yet.
Where else are we at here, Cody?
Oh,
That's
we didn't.
what
We
we're
didn't
doing.
really get
Now
into
I
the
can't hear
Uyghur trade.
you.
You can't hear me now.
Really?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you, Dennis.
Okay. You see me?
I can
Cody.
see you.
You can
Oh,
see me?
man.
Okay, good.
Oh my God! The technology, people. Everything about technology.
I'll be right
It
back.
is
I hear
what
you.
it is. Come on, Cody. Well, all right. He'll check back in
All right.
as we have an awful lot of fun doing this. Hi, Bruce. You can hear everybody. That's okay. All right. So let's go ahead and figure out where we are. Oh, people, you got to have shows like this, Dennis, because you know what? Our goal tonight is to win ugly, right, Cody? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh my God, Cody! Really, seriously, you can't bring the camera this time, and we know exactly who he's rooting for. The dog. So all right.
I can hear you, Cody.
So all right.
Okay.
So
I know it's not my microphone.
where are we? I've never had more fun putting together a show like we have. All right. Let's talk about the head coaches with the most career wins. And at the time that we had put this on, all right, Cody, do the best you can, brother. Okay, so, because God delays does not mean that God denies. Okay, but the coaches with the most career wins, actually, and this you're looking at, obviously,
3 of them.
yeah, there's 3 of them. You've got Joel Quenneville, Paul Maurice, and Lindy Ruff. Actually, are on there are fluid. and then the other ones are Quinville, and then you also have, let's see, well, yeah, and then you have Barry Trotz as well. So Bowman leads it off at 12:44. Quinville at the time that he got his milestone was 1,000. Maurice 9:45, Ruff with 9:33, and Trotz 9:14. So you got Quinville, Maurice, and Ruff are fluid. Trotz and let's see, Bowman are retired. So
Yeah.
all right, let's go to Mike. What are your thoughts about what we're looking at with that list, Cody? You know what? The best thing you might want to do is just go ahead and put your responses in the chat room, and then Candy will put it up. And we're going to learn an awful lot when this is all said and done about technology. So glad the crew is sticking with it, unless he gets on first. So let's talk about that. And we'll lead it off to you, Mike. Or Dennis, go ahead.
All right. I do, as I said, I do a lot of charity events, and I've done a bunch of stuff with Larry Robinson. And I'll bring up a story about Scotty Bowman
Okay.
and about how he's won so many games and there were so many Stanley Cups. And Larry, I said, Larry, how was Scotty Bowman? He goes, well, if we had a better coach, we'd win 4 or 5 more Stanley Cups. So there you go. There you go. You got the number one guy to win, and he's a terrible coach. From one of the top players that ever played in the National Hockey League, Larry Robinson. So I don't know. I mean, Montreal always had great players there. So a coach just had to do his job and put the right players together on the ice. Joel Quenneville. Look what he did in Chicago.
Right.
He did have some issues there. What went on, and they had to let him go. But he did a great job. I played against him. He was a great competitor on defense, and then you got Mr. Maurice, who's been all over the place, and he's had a milestone. I think that's on the list too, about 2,000 games, right? So him and Scotty Bowman, I think they're up on 2,000. So those are good coaches, but I think the best coaches are the ones that are able to put the right players together on certain teams that don't expect to win. I don't know if people really thought Florida was going to win or be in the Senate 3 years in a row or whatever. And it just goes to show that they had a different style than a lot of the other teams. They played tough, they played gritty, and they had the scoring, and they had the goaltending, and they were healthy. This year, they weren't healthy. They didn't make the playoffs. So, is it the coach's fault? You look at the Toronto Maple Leafs. Is it their coach's fault that they're not going to make the playoffs? Look at the players they have. So I don't know. I think you got to look at sometimes it's and a coach's and being involved with coaching and that. I think it's just a matter of the right timing, being healthy, makes you a better coach.
Yeah, no question about it. Again, all the 5 coaches that I listed on here are unbelievable, and 3 of them are still going at it, Dennis. They really are.
Right.
So you don't know where these numbers are going to actually really top out. Cody,
No.
can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Oh, my God. All right, Mike, let's
There
go.
you
Mike
go.
10. Can we hear you now, Mike? Who's going to drop off next?
I can hear everybody fine.
What? Now we don't have him. Come on, StreamYard. You're not doing me any favors tonight.
So now
I can
Mike-
hear you.
Scott can't hear you now, Mike.
StreamYard, help me out, people.
You can hear me, right, Cody?
I
That's
can
all
hear
right,
you.
Dennis.
Yeah.
Dennis, can you hear Mike?
Yeah.
Okay.
Scott's the. I hate to say this, but Scott's the problem.
A technology experience for the. Shit.
My
Oh, well, go
coach-
ahead, Cody. Can you hear you? You continue doing what you're doing and calling me last.
Mike's talking about the coaches now.
I think.
Okay, you're going to take the show the rest of the way and calling me last.
I think. For me,
Go for it, Mike.
picking up from what Dennis said, I mean, most of the time your coaches are only as good as the players they have available to them. I mean, Scotty Bowman, he had He had obviously the great Montreal Canadian teams with all those great players, especially through the 70s. And then he got involved with a team with Mario Lemieux and Jaromir Jagr and had success in Pittsburgh. And of course, the teams he had in Detroit were pretty special too. And you can say that for most of the coaches on here. Trotz, when he finally had a team with a superstar level player in Washington and Ovechkin, he won a cup. But the guy that really, I think, stands out on this list is the guy that has not won a cup, and he's the only one on here that hasn't won a cup as a coach or a player, and that's Lindy Ruff. I mean, this guy did a hell of a job with the Buffalo Sabres 25 years ago and got to the finals with a team led by Michael Pekka. And now here he is 25 years later or 26 years later, and look what he's been able to do with that Buffalo Sabres team, which, what did you say, it was 12 or 14 years, Cody, since they
14 years, yeah.
And they're going to finish with the second best record in hockey. And if the season went another 2 weeks, they might end up with a better record than the Colorado Avalanche, who everybody talked about all year. So for me, the guy on this list is Lindy Ruff.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. Lindy Ruff is definitely, especially what he's done. I mean, I can't be mad at Joe Quenneville. He's turned my Ducks around this year. No,
Yeah.
I didn't think the Ducks were going to be where they're at now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's really turned them around. Scotty Bowman, like what he's done, he's one of 3 coaches to win multiple Stanley Cups as a head coach with teams, with 3 or multiple teams. I think he's like one of 3 coaches to ever do it. Paul Maurice, all those times, and then he's been there. He's been a great coach, just couldn't get past the finish line, and then gets to Florida and he takes them to 3 straight and takes them to back-to-back Stanley Cups. Barry Trotz, has always had a great career as a coach. I'm glad he helped your Capitals, win the Stanley Cup. So
That's right.
I was happy when he did it because I thought Ovechkin deserved a Stanley Cup after all those years. But yeah, Lindy Ruff is the one coach on there that hasn't won a Stanley Cup and is definitely the most intriguing. To do what Mike was saying, take the Buffalo Sabres 25 years ago, and then now he's leading them again in 2026 on a Stanley Cup playoff run.
Right.
So I think that's going to be a fun thing to watch with all the 3 coaches that are on this list that are still active. On how well they're still doing in this modern NHL era now.
Mhm.
Right. Again, as I mentioned before, the list is fluid. So we're talking about 3 guys here that are still going at it. Yeah, I mean, Joel Quenneville, obviously, without a doubt, has done a good job. But he's had a little time off, too, because he has to own up to his past mistakes as well. Because then you wonder if he hadn't taken the time off, how many more wins that he would have, right, Dennis? I mean, think about it. You're talking at him with this list, but it wasn't just a while until he got reinstated.
Right.
So let's move on to Connor McDavid.
Yeah, we're losing you again, Dennis.
What happened?
We just have a black screen on you again. It's StreamYard. It's none of us. It's StreamYard acting.
Yeah,
Hello.
this is one of those issues. With StreamYard.
Dennis, we can hear you. We just can't see you.
Yeah, I think we should wrap this up soon.
Yeah. Is there one more big topic you want to talk about, and then and we'll bring it back next week and hopefully fix it. Streamer gets all these things.
Yeah, well,
fixed.
I mentioned Connor McDavid.
All right, so yeah, I got it right here. So Connor McDavid is the first player to hit 100 points this season. He becomes just the 3rd player in NHL history to hit the century mark 9 times, joining none other than Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux. What are your thoughts on that, Mike?
He's the
We back on?
he's the
We
most
can hear you, Dennis.
he's the most iconic player of this
I can
era.
hear you, Dennis. Can you hear me?
Go for it, Mike. Dennis, can you hear us? I don't think you can hear us now. All right, Dennis, log off and come back on. All right, and then Mike, go ahead.
I think he's the most iconic player of this era. And I think, fortunately, he's not going to have any type of Stanley Cup success, if at all, until he gets out of Edmonton. And my guess is that's going to happen in the next couple of years. And as I've said before, I'll be shocked if he doesn't end up with the Toronto Maple Leafs in a couple of years. But there's no question he is the best player in the game. I mean, I love Nathan McKinnon. I like Cale Makar, but he's the best right now.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Mike. You know, just the way he plays, how fast he is, and I've heard this from not just one person, but multiple people. They're saying, if you think he's good on TV, wait till you see him live. It's another story. Like, his speed doesn't do justice on the TV, and we all think on TV he's one of the fastest players in the game. But yeah, just the plays he makes. I mean, the move he made the other night in San Jose. I mean, that was just incredible. The things he does. I mean, he could drop 5 points every night if he really wanted to. You know? So I agree with you, Mike. He's definitely the biggest star we have in NHL that we've had in a while. The talent, the speed, you know, and someone that players can really look like, you know, young players that can really like look up to. Good role model.
Hello.
There he is. He's
back.
back. Can you hear me, Dennis?
Dennis, can you hear Scott? So we're back to square one. All right.
All right.
No volume. Don't hear anybody.
You don't hear anyone? All right.
A show for the
Yeah.
ages.
All right. Scott, what's your take on the whole Connor McDavid, you know, reaching the century mark again?
Well, he got the 1,000. Let's just see the guy get a Stanley Cup. I don't want him in the class of Dan Marino as a great player that never won a Stanley Cup or championship. I mean, we all know that he's been a game changer all the way around. So, you know, he's just too good of a player to be championship list.
I 100% agree. So, all right, I think we should wrap this one up.
Yeah, we'll put a wrap on this edition of Sports Wrap, pun intended. Okay. Sorry for the technical difficulties tonight. We do the best we can here, but you know, sometimes you have those nights. But we covered a lot of good key topics tonight, so we'll carry the other ones that we had scheduled, and I'll add a couple more for sure next week. So we'll bring Candy Ebling on for one more station break. All right, Dennis, can you hear me?
Dennis, can you hear anyone?
No, tell him to put his book up at least.
Dennis, can you hear anybody?
I don't think he can hear any of us.
I don't think he can either, so it's hard. You can't tell him, Scott.
Yeah. You're at the text him, if anything. But
okay, so
all right, Candy, go ahead.
Can't hear.
We can hear you.
Publishing company.
Hello?
Book.
Yeah,
Lessons from the Microphone. Tuning into the enduring wisdom of visionary leaders. It is written by Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganron. Talks about his 40-plus years in the industry and how it has evolved. Old school media versus new school media. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also an audiobook out there. Go get that. If you want to, there's a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content. So go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you want to advertise, sponsor a show, or be on a show, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. And last but not least, if you see the red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to our channel. Please do so. And then let all your friends and family know. And turn on your notifications so you're notified every time we go live. Monday nights is baseball. Tuesday nights is football. Wednesday nights, you never know what Scott's got up his bag of tricks. Thursday nights is hockey or soccer. And then Fire Up is at 9:30. Back to you, Scott.
Yeah, well, you know, we want to appreciate everybody for their patience with us. It's been a tough night for being on Sports Wrap. But the biggest thing that's really interesting, my takeaway, is I found a guy that can actually go out there and take my place if I ever need to. And Cody Speak continues to work his way up the ladder. Last night we allowed we allowed Eric Katz and Tony. Look at this, Dennis. Can you hear me, Dennis?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Good.
Hey,
Now you better
there
get
we
to-
go.
I'll
You
tell you,
guys-
you've been a top pick and trooper, man. So while I have everybody, get your book up there, Dennis. We're going to promote it. At least do that.
this thing. All right.
There we go.
There you go. All right. How's that? There you go.
There you go.
Now talk about it. Why should they buy it?
Why should they buy it? Because it's a great story of the NHL and my kind of on ice, off ice activities, and it's easy to read and good stories in there.
There you go. And how can they buy it, Dennis?
Amazon.
There you go.
Go right on
gets them
Amazon.
all. Buy it on Amazon. Google up Dennis Maruki. Have a good. And
Hey, you like my hat? You guys didn't say anything about my hat.
Cleveland.
Is that the
Cleveland
Cleveland
Barons.
Barons?
Oh,
No
Yeah.
kidding. You got to bring out more Cleveland Barons paraphernalia, especially on a night when things are going right for us. Tonight, though, at least we're all able. This is one of those shows where you win ugly, you do the best you can, you
Yep.
get whatever topics you have. Then we just carry it over to next week. But as I mentioned on last night's edition of the Sports Exchange, Eric Katz and Tony Lewis will be taking over their own show. And now I know that Cody Spink is going to earn the opportunity to host this show. If I'm not available, he'll just be giving all the topics. So I always believe, Dennis, and tell me, Mike, I know you're out there as well. And maybe what you ought to do, Mike, is just put it all in the chat so Candy can put it in. But you got to win ugly once in a while, and that's what we're doing. So what I'm going to make an announcement tonight that in the event that I go down ill, that Cody Spink will host this show, and I'll
There
make
you
sure he has everything that he needs to do. You always have to have a good backup in place. And Cody has come a long way from auditioning for us in the summer. He's fit in well with Mike and I. Of course, we put that soccer show together, and that's even drawn well. We definitely hit a home run with you, Dennis, for sure. Now we got to get Peter Mahavlich over his technical problems. Don't worry. That'll
Big
be next
Pete.
week.
Big Pete. Yeah.
Now we'll work on it. It's a work in progress. Mike
Okay.
Santos has been my rock and my glue, man. This guy here is unbelievable. I took a guy off here one time. They had a great social media following. Nothing against the person per se. You follow what I'm saying? I brought on a guy like Mike Santos who knows everything about the game, and this show is in a great position because Mike and I have worked our tail on it, and now we've added some good pieces like Cody and Dennis for sure, and we're looking to add Peter. So tonight is just one of those situations where technology simply catches up with you. It does. I don't care what happens, what industry. We just sit there and laugh at it, learn from it, and we're just, as in the eyes of, pardon the interruption, for those people that go ahead and watch that show, we'll just do better the next time. That's all we can literally do. So, Fire Up is next. Will follow us here tonight. Mike, I know I don't read sign language, but anything you want to add through the chat or whatever, Candy? Is he putting anything up through the chat that we can put in there? And we're going to learn sign language, chat language, whatever. I want to appreciate Josh and the guys for coming back on through X. So they added a little activity as well as the Masters as well. And we've certainly done our best to pull off a masterful performance with Cody pinch hitting and Mike and Dennis providing their insights. So, Dennis, you're going to be on next week, or do you have something going on?
What day is that?
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday. Number. What's the
16.
number?
the 16th.
There you
The
go.
what?
The 16th.
16th.
I should be there. Yep.
Beautiful.
Should be.
Because
Yep.
what we're going to do is a lot of those topics that you have that we haven't used, you'll have a head start on them. You follow me?
All right. No
And
problem.
Cody, make sure you know the ones that I would print it out if I were you and cross the other ones. You'll know what they are, and I may add one or two as well. And I won't add much more because the other topics are certainly
Is
important.
Big Pete going to be on next week?
We're going to try.
Okay.
I would do a test run with him before we try to go live and everything. Scott, just
There we go.
do what you
Lost
did.
everybody.
Just send me the topics, send me all the pitches you got, and then that way, if anything happens, I can go off of that.
Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'll have the weekend to work on it as well.
Perfect.
Mike, thumbs up, man. Okay. Can you, let's go ahead. Oh, I'll take that too. Okay. Well, this is sign language, people. This is sign language, so I don't lose my insanity because I know I have the best group on the planet. I mean, it happens. Dennis, you know how I feel about you, brother. It is what it is, man.
Hey.
You're my pal. And I find, where I've met this guy is on LinkedIn, of all places.
There you go.
Cody,
There you
we
go. All good.
It is all good.
We'll make it work. We'll make it work. Yep.
Yeah, we will. We'll definitely make it work. So on behalf of Mike Santos, me, the Motor Mouth, whatever computer I'm going to be on, Cody Speak, Dennis Maruk, hopefully Peter Mavlich and Candy Ebley behind the scenes. I want to thank everybody for joining us on this edition of Sports Wrap, because we were wrapping our hands around technology, and technology didn't do
Right.
us a lot of favors, but we made it work. Right, Dennis?
That's right.
What's your final word for the night?
Final word for tonight is, I'm tired.
Now you're out.
I'm tired.
Oh, well, that's
I'm going to
okay.
bed.
We're out.
Yeah.
Peace. God bless. See you next week.
All
Bye
right.
now.
Bye.